Hello everyone, this is Al Red Sox Fan coming to you from Al Red Sox Fan YouTube station, and we're going to bring you some title bout championship boxing, our heavyweight tournament, and this was bout number 9 in our heavyweight tournament, and it will pit the great Joe Louis, one of the all-time greatest boxers in the history of the sport. He defended the heavyweight title 25 times before retiring, against Joe Bugner. Bugner, tremendous fighter in his own right, but not to the likes of Joe Louis, obviously. Bugner fought Muhammad Ali twice, Joe Frazier, Ron Lyle, Ernie Shavers, so on and so forth. Biggest win came over Henry Cooper, controversial decision over Cooper for the British Commonwealth title in Henry Cooper's last bout. And again, I provided a link to BoxingRec.com if you'd like to search out the fighters and take a look at their records. This is bout 9 of our heavyweight tournament using Title Bout Championship Boxing. Joe Louis has a record of 66 wins, 3 losses, no draws, 52 via the knockout. He stands at 6'2", 200 pounds, with a reach of 76 inches. He won the heavyweight title from the Cinderella Man, James J. Braddock, June 22nd, 1937, via the knockout. And like I stated, defended the title 25 times before retiring. He would then come back to try to regain the title, but lose to Ezzard Charles. In his last fight, after once again trying to regain the heavyweight title, he went on a win streak and would be KO'd by Rocky Marciano. That was a non-title fight before Marciano was champion. Joe Bugner, 69 wins, 13 defeats, 1 draw, 41 via the knockout, turned professional at the age of 17 and fought well into his 40s, retiring on and off at times. Bugner stands at 6'4", weighs in at 225 with a reach of 82 inches. Joe Louis's trainer, Jack Blackburn, his cut man, Manny Seaman. In the corner, Joe Bugner, Mickey Duff's his trainer, cut man Denny Mancini. The fight will be taking place at Wembley Stadium. Ring announcer Michael Buffer, referee Terry O'Connor. The judges Mickey Van from the UK, Larry Hazzard from the United States, and Dung Ung Park from South Korea. It is scheduled for 15 rounds of boxing, 10-point must system. You can never be saved by the bell, and the doctor or referee can stop the bout. As the fighters have entered the ring, Louis wearing green trunks, green robe, dark green, with black boxing shoes. Joe Bugner, white boxing trunks with blue boxing shoes. Louis can fight as a boxer or a slugger. He's rated in Title Bout Boxing. The ratings for a boxer go 1 through 15. He is a 14. Joe Bugner is an 8. So Louis will have a distinct advantage over Joe Bugner. His control factor against a boxer, for which Bugner is 12. Bugner's control factor against a boxer or slugger is 8. So Joe Louis will be dictating the pace of the fight. I suspect that Bugner will try to work behind his jab. He's a very educated jab. And try to emulate what Billy Conn did to Joe Louis in Louis Conn 1. Conn was ahead on points, but as Joe Louis said, you can run but you can't hide. Eventually, Louis would find him and knock him out. A very big crowd here at Wembley Stadium. Packed house to see the great Joe Louis take on Joe Bugner from the UK via Hungary, and then would later move to Australia. Louis has the edge in power, endurance, defense, hand speed, and tactical skill. It's going to be an uphill battle for Joe Bugner. Again, this was a random draw. All these bouts were random draws. So let's get to the ringside action here. Again, Bugner will have to work behind his educated jab and keep Joe Louis off balance. Bugner, not really a big puncher, even though he has a decent amount of knockouts. Once again, the records: Joe Louis, 66, 3 no draws, 52 KOs. Joe Bugner, 69 wins, 13 defeats, 1 draw, 41 KOs. Bugner's biggest win came over Henry Cooper in Cooper's last fight for the British Commonwealth title. He also fought Ali twice and lost, Joe Frazier, Ron Lyle. Lost a controversial decision to Ron Lyle, split decision in Las Vegas. Ernie Shavers, Marvis, Frazier, so on and so forth. He held the European heavyweight title, the Commonwealth title, and I believe also the British heavyweight title. Joe Louis was heavyweight champion. He won it in 37 over James J. Braddock, defended 25 times. Let's go ringside now for the bout. And here we are, folks, ringside Wembley Stadium. Louis will be on the left of your screen, Bugner on your right, and I will be doing my radio commentary. As we get set for round one, referee takes them to the center of the ring for the final instructions. Asks any questions from the Louis corner. They nod no. Any questions from the Bugner corner? They nod no. Fighters touch gloves and they go back to their neutral corners. And here is round one, bout number 9 of our heavyweight tournament. Joe Louis versus Joe Bugner, Wembley Stadium, England. And here's round one. And Louis lands 2 quick jabs. And now a right cross and a left hook. Bugner starts to back up. He's stunned by those blows. Louis is all over Bugner. He's looking to stop him like Max Schmeling, but now Bugner uses that educated jab, snapping 2 quick, hard shots into Louis's face. They tie up and break. Minute 37 left in round number 1. Again, Louis pressures Bugner. Bugner backing, trying to use the jab. And now Bugner lands a 1-2-3, snapping Louis's head back. Under a minute to go. Bugner rallying here. Louis digs hard in the body. Bugner backs up. He felt those shots. 15 seconds left in round number 1, and there is the bell. That was a fast and frenetic round. Wow. Louis quickly jumped on Bugner, heard him, was letting his hands go. Bugner stopped the onslaught for a moment, landing 2 solid quick jabs, regrouped, got his distance, continued to flick the jab out there. Louis dug some shots to the body. Bugner felt them, then Bugner rallied right back with a combination. That round looked very much like Joe Bugner, Joe Frazier. When Bugner gave Frazier all he could handle, would go on to lose a 12-round decision. Let's go to the scorecards. I do give that round to Joe Louis. He landed the bigger blows. Roy Paff, the unofficial scorer for Title Bout Championship Boxing, gave it an even round. Wow, it was a close round. Fast and frenetic, as I said. So he scored it 10-10. Again, I gave that round to Louis. 10-9, close. Let's go to the Joe Louis corner. Again, in his corner, Jack Blackburn, Manny Seaman. Blackburn the trainer, Seaman the cutman. Nothing out of the ordinary there, just greasing up Louis around the eyes. Little sip of water. Louis will using his boxing technique as he can switch back and forth from boxer to slugger. Now over to the Joe Bugner corner, where Mickey Duff and Denny Mancini are attending to their pugilist. They're very happy, except for that Bugner got tagged early in that round. He got hurt, shook it off quite well. He took those punches well, rallied to come back, and in the eyes of the title bout boxing unofficial scorekeeper, he had it even. I give it 10-9 Louis, close round. They're telling Bugner to work behind that jab, keep your distance. And we'll move on to round number 2 here. In the chat, we have Tribes Fan. How are you, my friend? Hope all is well. So round 2 coming up, scheduled for 15, bout number 9 of our heavyweight tournament, using the simulation engine of Title Bout Championship Boxing. Round 2. And Louis is going to fight on the outside, and so is Bugner. And Bugner missed with those shots, and Louis counters with a 1-2-3. Bugner ties him up, doesn't want Louis to work on the inside. Again, Louis lands a 1-2 combination. Second punch to the body, another 1-2 combination. Bugner steps back, trying to find range. Bugner ducked under those shots and countered with 2 shots of his own. Louis regroups, they tie up. Referee breaks them. Under 1:10 to go in round number 2. They tie up again. Bugner trying to keep Louis away from the inside, ripping those body shots. Bugner keeping tremendous distance, now flicking that jab out. Louis stalking, those right hands missed. Again, Louis is stalking. Bugner ties up when he gets close. Bugner felt the Louis power in round 1. Big right hand by Bugner, missed at the bell. Bugner wanted nothing to do with Joe Louis on the inside. Tied up immediately. That was a slower paced round. Definitely a Joe Louis round. Louis tagged him with a couple of combinations in the beginning of round 2. Bugner landed 1 scoring combination. Many flicking jabs that amounted to pretty much nothing. Tied up Louis on the inside. So round 2 I give to Joe Louis 10-9. More convincingly, as Bugner did not want to exchange with the Brown Bomber, as he did in round number 1. Let's go to the unofficial scorecard at Title Bout Championship Boxing, Roy Path, and he gives it 10-9 to Louis. He now has it 20 Louis, 19 Bugner, 10-point must system. Scheduled for 15 rounds of boxing, Wembley Stadium, England. Let's go to the Joe Louis corner. And Jack Blackburn's very happy. The one thing he's telling Joe, don't let him tie you up on the inside. When you get on the inside, we want you to work. Even though Louis was fighting outside defensively, looking to counter, then leap in, which he did counter, but when he got on the inside, Bugner held on for dear life. Louis takes a sip of water. Manny Seaman again, just working the eyes a bit. Little end swell. Now we'll go to the Joe Bugner corner with Mickey Duff and Denny Mancini. Mancini rubbing Bugner's arms, whispering something into his ear. Mickey Duff a little more animated. He wants Bugner to keep his distance and use his jabs. And when he has the opportunity, hit him with the counter right hand. He did like that Bugner smothered him on the inside. They don't want Louis to work on the inside. Bugner takes a sip of water as we prepare for round number 3. Scheduled for 15. Here we go, round number 3. Again, Louis quickly off his stool, meets Bugner in the center of the ring and lands 2 solid jabs. He's looking to land that big right hand, and Bugner again ties up as Louis bores in on the inside. Bugner weighs in at 225 tonight, Louis 200. And there's a tremendous shot by Bugner on a quick combination. The uppercut snapped Joe Louis's head back. Louis starts to back up. Bugner, not a big puncher, definitely got Louis's attention there. And Bugner needs a follow-up. Louis counters with a 1-2. Bugner digs to the body. Bugner more wanting to trade. Now again, they're standing toe-to-toe. Bugner having the slight better of this advantage. Under 30 seconds to go, they tie up, they're wrestling, they're mauling and brawling, and again Bugner lands shots to the body. Louis backs up. 2 quick combinations by Bugner at the end of the round. Bugner, a very good round in round number 3. a quick combination, snapping Joe Louis's head right up. And Bugner took advantage of that, and he pressed the action for the first time in the fight. He felt like he had the advantage. He did not tie up Louis on the inside this time. He let his hands go. And Louis, being a little stunned still, was beaten to the punch throughout most of that round on the infighting. That was a Joe Bugner round. Hard-fought round, but Joe Bugner round. I give Bugner round number 3, 10-9. Let's go to the unofficial scorecard at Title Bout Championship Boxing. Roy Path, round 3, Bugner 10-9. He has it all even now, 29-29 after 3 rounds. Let's go to the Joe Louis corner. Jack Blackburn not very happy. That snapping combination ending with that huge uppercut on Louis's lower portion of his jaw, snapping his head back. Really staggered Louis. Louis did regroup, fought back, but shades of Max Schmeling's first fight with Joe Louis must be going through Jack Blackburn's head right now. What a huge upset this would be if somehow Bugner could win this fight. Bugner, a huge underdog. Again, Joe Louis's Title Bout Championship Boxing ranking. Again, 15 being the highest. He is a 14. Bugner is an 8. They're telling Louis, don't get lazy in there. Not that he was lazy, but maybe he underestimated Bugner. Those first, especially in round 2, Bugner just held on for dear life on the inside. This time he let his hands go after that huge combination gave him tremendous confidence. The Brown Bomber takes a swig of water, spits it out. Now we'll move to as he gets final instructions from Blackburn and Seaman. Now we will move to the Joe Bugner corner. Mickey Duff very happy in the Bugner corner. Denny Mancini working a little of the end swell around the eyes. No nicks, cuts, or abrasions to report. Nothing out of the ordinary. Bugner, a very strong man, very athletic. Again, that tall frame, long arms. Mickey Duff very happy with how Bugner dealt with Louis in round 3. Let's see if he can keep it up in round 4. Both fighters off their stool. Here's the bell for round number 4. Again, Louis quickly off the stool to the center of the ring, and he meets Bugner. Both men pawing with their jabs, circling. And now, huge combination by Louis. The last 2 shots dug to the body. Bugner starts to back up. Louis starts to pursue, and Louis is going all out this round. Bugner was hurt by that big right hand. Bugner digs 2 shots to the body, but tries to move away, and now he ties up. He does not want to trade right now. His head's a little foggy. Louis continues to press. Now he moves to the outside, Louis. Bugner missed with those punches. Again, now Louis looks to counter, staying on the outside, pawing the jab. He wants to land that right hand when Bugner comes in, but Bugner is not obliging both men. There's a 1-2, second shot to the body, and Louis comes back with a 1-2-3 to the head of Bugner. Again, Bugner backs away and works his jab. And Louis digs to the body, under 10 seconds to go, and there's the bell. Round 5, oh boy. We better pause this. Well, we're going to go to round 5 here. Both fighters trying to work one another's jab. As I hit... Oh! Tremendous uppercut after that combination by Louis. Bugner staggering back. Louis misses with a big right hand. Bugner counters with a 1-2 off the ropes. 1:30 to go. Louis missed with that overhand shot from the uppercut. Now he digs a hook to the head and body. A minute to go here. Bugner lands a 1-2. Louis pursuing. Bugner on the outside. Continue to work his jab. Now Louis backs up, and he is countered with a 3-punch combination. But he digs to the body right away. Back and forth action. Under 10 seconds to go in round 5. Again, Louis digs to the body and an uppercut to the head that just grazed Bugner. So, there was no... We went to radio break, I guess, for between rounds 3 and 4. I apologize. I hit the wrong button. Instead of play round, I hit play bout. So let's quickly go to the scorecard. Round 4... Roy Path gave rounds 4 and 5 to Louis, which I do see. as well as I did, 10-9 both rounds. He now has Louis up 49-47. So 4 and 5, 10-9 Louis. The only difference I have with Path is he gave an even round in round 1. I gave 10-9 Louis in round 1. And Louis starting to take control here. Though Bugner let his hands go a little more. He didn't tie up as much. I don't know if he feels the urgency. Both fighters start trying to box from the outside, but then quickly when the exchanges come, they're standing pretty much toe-to-toe. As Mickey Duff was screaming from the corner, "Let your hands go and move away, Joe. Let your hands go and move away." Speaking to Joe Bugner. And we go to the Joe Louis corner with Jack Blackburn, the trainer. He's very happy with Louis's doing. Louis is getting caught with some shots, mind you, but Louis is landing the harder punches and more of them. He said, "Keep it up, Joe." They like what he's doing to the body. Louis really concentrating on the body now, trying to slow the much bigger man down. Again, you have to remember, Joe Bugner, 6'4", 225, 82-inch reach advantage. But Louis has been able to cut that distance. Louis has been fighting on the outside, countering Bugner, and then when he has the opportunity after landing hard shots, if he can stay on the inside, he lets his hands go. In rounds 4 and 5, we approach round 6. We'll move to the Joe Bugner corner. Mickey Duff admonishing his fighter, telling Bugner, "Use your jab, stay on the outside, tie up on the inside. We do not want you to trade with Louis on the inside." Bugner very emboldened after that second round. The third round, when he really snapped Louis's head back with an uppercut when he caught Louis coming in with a combination. Again, that final punch was an uppercut that snapped his head back, and then it was on for Joe Bugner. That's the only round I've given to Joe Bugner, round 3. Mickey Duff giving very stern instructions to his fighter. Stay on the outside, work the jab, use the counter. Tie up Louis on the inside. We now move to round number 6. Joe Louis taking control here at Wembley Stadium. The fans are in a frenzy here. Beatles Eternally is at ringside. How are you? He's here, watching the fight. So is Tribes fan ringside as I do my radio call. Here is round number 6. And Bugner turned the tide here against Louis. Both fighters center of the ring. Louis missed with those shots. Again, both fighters fighting on the outside, trying to work behind the jab. Bugner lands 2 quick jabs. Now Louis goes a 1 to the body. Then he goes again to the body and up to the head. Bugner felt that. He's backing up. Bugner counters as he backs up and moves away. Louis is pursuing. Now Louis again goes back to the outside, working his jab. Bugner lands 2 long jabs. Very even round here. Minute 30 to go, and he's answered with a 1-2 combination by Louis. Right hand. Oh! A huge combination by Bugner. Louis got caught coming in. Bugner pouring it on. Louis backing up. Now Louis fights off the rope. Bugner backs up. Both fighters exchanging near the ropes. Now towards the center of the ring. Bugner ducked under those shots. Lands a 1-2. Louis fires back but misses. What a huge round there for both fighters. I give that close round 6 to Joe Bugner. Bugner landed a hellacious combination. Louis started to go back and Bugner went forward. To the chagrin of his trainer, Mickey Duff. Duff did not want him to pursue, but Bugner went after Louis. Wow. I give round 6, 10-9, Joe Bugner. Let's see how they scored it in Title Bout Championship Boxing. Roy Path gave that 10-9 Louis. Interesting. It was a close round, but I thought Bugner did a little more of the damage. As Beatles Eternally from ringside says he's doing okay. He's enjoying the fight. So right now, after 6th round, unofficially, Roy Path has the bout scored 59 Louis, 56 Bugner. Let's go to the Joe Louis corner. Again, concerned by Jack Blackburn. He's having nightmares in his head of the first Max Schmeling fight, where Schmeling said about Louis, "I think I see something." And that was that counter right hand that would eventually knock out Joe Louis in the 12th in their first meeting. And Blackburn very concerned that Louis has now got caught basically with the same combination and stunned badly both times. This time even more stunned as Louis back to the ropes. And he wasn't playing possum. He did fight his way off the ropes. And it was pretty much a give and take. Could have went either way. Again, I give the round to Joe Bugner. Blackburn saying, you got to watch that uppercut. The second time you've been caught by it. Stay a little lower. And now he's saying feint. Feint your way in. Let Bugner commit and nail him with the right hand. Because Bugner has twice timed Joe Louis's rush after Louis has hit him from the outside with those combinations. They're working on some light swelling around Joe Louis's eye. Takes a sip of water. We will now move to the Joe Bugner corner and Mickey Duff. Duff is still telling Bugner, stay on the outside, work the jab, do not pursue, do not pursue. Bugner sort of not really paying attention to his corner man right now. He is, but he isn't. Bugner thinks he's the stronger fighter, the bigger man. He has not tied up much since round number 2 where he held on for dear life. But in his mind, he must think he's been able to take the Louis punch as well. That could be his downfall. As again, Mickey Duff is telling him, work behind the jab, Bugner, to Joe Bugner. Denny Mancini, little light end swell work, some grease around the eyes. No nicks, cuts, or abrasions of anything out of the ordinary to report from the Bugner or Louis corners. We will now get ready for round number 7. And it's been a surprisingly action-packed fight here. Round 2 being the dullest. And here is round number 7. Louis quickly off his stool. Again, he gets to the center of the ring. And he digs 2 shots to Bugner's body. Bugner backs up, trying to keep distance. 1-2 combination by Bugner. Louis backs up. Louis looking to counter Bugner. It's become a fight of counter punchers, and Bugner gets his punches off first. 1, 2, 3, 4, and Louis leaps in with an uppercut, digs to the body and back up to the head. Bugner backs up to the ropes. Louis pursues. 1:30 to go here in round number 7. Louis looking to land that big right hand and drop Joe Bugner. Bugner pawing with the jab, moving away, moving away. Louis pursuing now. Louis backs up, and Bugner digs 2 shots to the body and up to the head. They tie up. The referee breaks them. 25 seconds left in the round. Louis digs 2 shots to the head and body, then again, and there's the bell, as Bugner ducked under the big right hand. Another close round here. Wow! Though Bugner has the edge in points, as you can see, that's title bout boxing points. I thought, I'm going to give this an even round. I thought Louis rallied enough at the end with big punches. Bugner did his best to avoid a lot of those blows. So I'm giving that an even round. That's another tough round to score, as Bugner has been very effective. Bugner is a very good fighter. Never could get over the hump with a big win. So I'm giving that a 10-10 round in round number 7. Let's see how the unofficial title bout scorer has it. Roy Path. He gives it 10-9 for Bugner. So after 7 rounds complete, a very exciting fight here at Wembley Stadium. Joe Louis 68, Joe Bugner 66. Both fighters look to want to fight on the outside, but as soon as the punches start to fly and they start to land, they end up almost standing toe-to-toe. Bugner did a little better job in this round, in round 7, of landing and moving away. He did get caught at the end of the round when he stayed in too long. He is the bigger man, but Louis is the much harder puncher. They didn't call him the Brown Bomber for nothing. Let's go to the Joe Louis corner, Jack Blackburn. And again, Blackburn does not like what he's seeing. He feels his fighter's getting caught with too many clean, hard shots. And he must, again, be going through his mind that first Max Schmeling fight. Again, Joe Bugner has a nice knockout record, but he's really not a big puncher, and that's what Blackburn must be thinking in his head. Thank God Bugner's not a big puncher. He has hit Louis quite cleanly at times. Louis has always answered, though. He wants Louis to work behind the jab, throw that right hand, and he likes the body work. Louis has not ignored the body, and that should come in towards the end of this fight. Louis trained exquisitely for the fight, as well as Joe Bugner. But Louis has been working the body and working it hard. Louis takes a sip of water. He's preparing for round 8. We'll move to the Joe Bugner corner. Mickey Duff is just, he doesn't know what to say to his fighter. He wants Bugner to stay on the outside. The strategy is to stay on the outside, but yet Bugner, when he lands a couple of clean shots, he wants to win this fight. He knows what happened against Ali. He knows what happened against Frazier. Especially against Ron Lyle, where he sort of faded towards the end of that fight. Where he didn't have, he thought he had the fight won, and he basically cruised and lost a split decision in 77 against Ron Lyle. So Mickey Duff is telling him instructions, and Joe Bugner sort of nodding his head, sipping some water from Denny Mancini. Now Mancini again working slight end swell, around the eyes, rubbing some grease on the face. Last words for Mickey Duff is go out and get him. We prepare for round number 8, but before we do that, let's go to the traits real quick and check out the endurance. And you can see Bugner's endurance is going down. So is Lewis's, but not to the same extent of Joe Bugner, as Louis has really, really worked that body hard. Joe, as you can see it. Bugner has been a much more solid defensive fighter in the past few rounds, even though he's been tagged. But that body work is going to come in handy in the next few rounds, as Louis continues to work the body, and Bugner's endurance continuing to slow. As fighters are off their stool, here's round number 8. They go to the center of the ring, each pawing the jab. And now Bugner's going to be the aggressor. He tries to leap in, and he's caught with a tremendous combination. The last, a right to the head. Bugner felt that. He starts to go back. Bugner does, and Louis pursues, digging shots to the body and head now. Louis is the predator, and Bugner is the prey. And there, a big right hand landed by Bugner on the counter. Louis starts to back up. Bugner trying to land. Louis, good defense there. Bugner digs to the body. They stand toe-to-toe as Bugner's going all out this round. He lands another combination to the head and body. That uppercut has been tagging Louis over and over again. Louis's right hand missed, but Bugner's didn't. Under 15 seconds ago, both fighters throw and miss, and there's the bell as they tie up and wrestle and work their free hand. O'Connor has to break them up. Good gosh almighty. Joe Bugner thought he was Jack Dempsey in that round, or Rocky Marciano or Mike Tyson, and he went right at Joe Louis. It didn't work out in the beginning. Louis caught him, hurt him. Louis started to pursue, and then Bugner caught Louis and continued to press forward, never taking a backward step after initially being tagged by Louis. A lot of concern in the Joe Louis corner as he was rattled once again. Again, Bugner not a big puncher. A big man, but not a big puncher. The crowd here at Wembley is in a frenzy, to say the least. I give that round 10-9 Bugner, as that was a wild slugfest. Bugner has given the Brown Bomber all he can handle. Very surprisingly to me, and to this audience here at Wembley Stadium, though they're quite happy. It's a pro-Bugner crowd. We are in the UK. Though he was not a big fan favorite in England. So, 10-9 Bugner in round 8. That's how I score it. Let's see the unofficial scoring by Rory Path of Title Bout Championship Boxing. He also gives it 10-9 Bugner. Round 8. We're halfway through these 15 rounds now. Bugner has closed the gap on his card to 1 point. Louis 77, Bugner 76. But how much of that effort that Bugner put forth in round 8, how much more can he do? He exerted a lot of energy in round 8. He really went after Joe Louis. Could that be his last hurrah, his last gasp, as he was tiring? We go to the Joe Louis corner, and they're very concerned. Again, they did a shade. Blackburn has to just be thinking about the Max Schmeling fight. The first Max Schmeling fight when Schmeling knocked out Louis in the 12th. Louis would then destroy Max Schmeling in the rematch in a huge historical fight before World War II in 1938. Crushing Schmeling in one brutal round. Blackburn, again, he wants Louis to work behind the jab and dig the body. But Bugner has been able to hit Louis with that uppercut and then followed up with quick combinations. He's putting a little more oomph in his punches than normal. This is the heavyweight championship tournament. He wants to go forward in it. So does Joe Louis. Louis a huge favorite, and this is a much closer fight than anyone's expected so far. Louis takes a swig of water, spits it out, nods his head as Blackburn whispers something to his ear as he prepares for round number 9. We go to the Joe Bugner corner. Again, Mickey Duff. He doesn't know what to say to his fighter. He says, do what you want, Joe. Do what you want. You're better off working behind the jab, but Bugner has stood toe-to-toe. They want him to stay on the outside last round, and he went right at Joe Louis. Bugner wants to prove himself. He has lost twice to Ali, once to Frazier, Ron Lyle, Ernie Shavers. He wants to get, as they say, the monkey off his back. Bugner can't win the big one. Well, he's trying to prove it he can. Will he? I still don't think so. Denny Mancini rubs some grease around the face. Last minute sip of water by Bugner. He spits it out. We move to round number 9. We're halfway through this bout, scheduled for 15 here at Wembley Stadium. Heavyweight tournament. Let's quickly go to the traits. As Bugner's endurance continues to wither away. Maybe he knows that. Maybe he knows he's tiring. He can feel it. And he wants to go out, if he's going to go out on his shield. He has given Joe Louis all that Louis can handle. I thought he was going to fight this fight more like when Billy Conn fought Joe Louis the first time. But it has been nothing like that. Bugner has not really stayed behind his jab. He's gotten on the inside and tried to work. Here we go, round number 9. Let's go to Beatles Eternally at ringside. Beatles says, Bugner lost to me as well. All right. Here we go. Round number 9. There's the bell. Fighters meet in the center of the ring as always. And Louis is first, and it's hard. Those punches rattled Bugner. As Bugner doesn't move back that much, he again moves forward. They're standing toe-to-toe. As he continues to press, they're screaming from the Louis corner to work on the outside. And now they tie up. Now Louis tries to work from distance with the jab. Nothing landed. Bugner again coming forward, trying to let his hands go, but he's caught. Tremendous countering shots, but Bugner again comes forward. Louis digs to the rope. Bugner is not effective with his aggression at all. Now he lands a 1-2. Scoring blows, but Louis backs up, and he's caught. Long right hand catches Louis. Louis backs up. Bugner comes forward. Under 30 seconds to go. Bugner looking to load up again. They tie up. They wrestle. And there is the bell. As both fighters are trying to work that free hand on the inside before the ref broke them. That's a close round for Joe Louis. Louis tried to fight on the outside, but once he hurt Bugner, he took the opportunity to try to really land those last blows that would finish Bugner off. Bugner, to his credit, stood up to them, never really backing up too much. Always coming forward as he was going all out to do damage on Joe Louis. But I give that round Joe Louis. Close, hard-fought round. Louis landed the bigger punches. Bugner landed his fair share, but nothing as hard as Louis did. 10-9 Louis after 9. Go to the title bout unofficial score, Roy Path, and he gives it 10-9 to Louis. So after 9 rounds, you have Joe Louis up by 2 points, 87 to 85. As Bugner seems to be fading now. Louis, even though he has absorbed punishment from Bugner, been rattled on several occasions, he has never forgot to dig to that body. Louis continues to dig to that body. And those body shots are paying off dividends right now. We go to the Joe Louis corner, Jack Blackburn. They like that a little better, though. They want Louis to stay a little more on the outside. It's tough to say that to Louis, though, because he is a shorter fighter, and he has to get within his range to throw punches. So it's an awkward way of him staying on the outside. He tries to lure Bugner in, and it's been easier now because Bugner has been very aggressive these past 2 rounds. But it's when he's on the outside, he's not really that far out. He has to stay within his punching range because Louis wants to stay in his punching range to counter Joe Bugner. No nicks, cuts, or abrasions out of the ordinary to report from the Joe Louis corner. Manny Seaman works the end swell a bit as Jack Blackburn rubs the Brown Bomber's arms. Last minute instructions. Now we'll move to the Joe Bugner corner and Mickey Duff. It's been a close fight. I did not expect this fight to be this close. I thought that Bugner would be much more of a defensive fighter working the jab from the outside, but he has not done too much of that. Even when he starts off that way, when the action starts flying, he wants to press forward, very un-Bugner-like. What this fight reminds me of is Bugner versus Joe Frazier, when he gave Frazier all he could handle. And that fight's on YouTube. I suggest you check it out. He gave Frazier all he could handle. Mickey Duff is really not very happy with Bugner's tactics. That's not the way they train, but what can he say now? Not much he can say now. This is the way the fight's going to be. So Duff is saying, let your hands go. Let your hands go. So some last minute instructions for Joe Bugner. And we go to round number 10. Let's quickly check out the traits. And you can see Bugner's endurance just slip sliding away, as Paul Simon would say. Here's the bell for round number 10. Again, Louis looks to fight on the outside and counter Bugner. Bugner comes forward. They tie up, they break, and Louis with a 1-2-3 snapping Bugner's head back, but Bugner continues to come forward, trying to work behind the jab. Those punches missed by Bugner. Down goes Bugner! He got nailed with a right hand! 2. O'Connor starts to count. The count's up to 3.
5.
It's up to 5. Bugner
6.
finally to his feet
7.
will take the mandatory 8 count. Louis looking to finish Bugner now. Bugner trying to survive. Louis going right at him here in round 10, digging to the head and body. But Bugner not moving back much. He's trying to throw punches. Bugner misses. Louis lands. Bugner starts to back up. Louis pursues another huge right hand. Buckles Bugner's knees. The big man preparing to go down again. Louis landing right hand over and over again. Shots to the body and head. The uppercut snaps Bugner's head. O'Connor looking closely. Bugner taking a beating here in round 10. Trying to put his arms out to defend himself. Louis trying to load up with one more big shot. Now Bugner comes back with a 4-punch combination at the bell. Both fighters throw a huge Joe Louis round. Bugner was dropped nearly out. Somehow he survived. He threw a decent combination at the end of the round. Louis missed with a big right hand as the bell sounded. Wow! Joe Louis finally caught Joe Bugner on the chin. That's what Mickey Duff is screaming at his fighter in the corner. He's saying, Joe, that's why we didn't want those tactics. As Bugner continued to press forward, and finally Louis got that proper distance with that right hand, and he landed it right on the button, and down went big Joe Bugner. 10-8. That's actually, I'm giving it a 10-7 round, Louis. He was totally dominant, plus the knockdown. Round 10. This fight could be all but over as we move to the 11th. So that is a 10-8 round, excuse me. .10-8 round. Obviously with the knock, I could give a 10-7. I'm not going to do that. And that's as close as a 10-7 round as you could get. I mean, he totally dominated that round. And again, you could just hear Mickey Duff screaming at Bugner in the corner. Bugner just not even paying attention to him. And they're trying to revive him at the same time he's screaming at him. Let's go to the unofficial scorecard. 10-8 for Louis. Louis in complete control now after 10. Roy Path 97-93. Louis, again, that huge knockdown. Give Joe Bugner credit. He got up. That was a hellacious right hand. Again, Louis finally got the proper distance and proper timing for that counter. He's been fighting on the outside. Yes, he's been fighting on the inside too. But all of the initial offense from Louis does come from the outside with countering shots. Then when he's on the inside after countering, he lets his hands go. A very aggressive counter puncher, Joe Louis has been. Except when he dropped Bugner, he pursued to finish him. And to his credit, Bugner somehow stayed on his feet, even landing decent in his condition. A pretty decent combination towards the end of the round. It didn't stop the freight train known as Joe Louis, as Louis was going all out for that knockout. Let's go to the Joe Louis corner. Jack Blackburn very happy as Joe Louis has finally found that proper distance to land that countering right hand. No nicks, cuts, or abrasions to report from the Joe Louis corner. Some light end swell work by Manny Seaman. Blackburn says, "You got him, Joe. You got him. Finish him." Louis takes a swig of water. The Brown Bomber is ready for round number 11. We move quickly to the Joe Bugner corner. And Mickey Duff hasn't stopped yelling at his fighter since he sat on that stool. Continues to admonish his fighter. And he's begging him, if he has anything left, to stay on the outside for the next couple of rounds and try to regroup. Now he asks him, "Do you want to go, Joe? Do you want to go?" Bugner acknowledges yes. And he looks sternly at Duff. For all the punishment in that round that Bugner has taken, just the normal wear and tear of a pugilistic contest, Mancini again working the end swell lightly around the eyes as Mickey Duff continues to admonish his fighter. We prepare for round number 11. Let's quickly look at the traits. And Bugner's endurance is all but gone. And as you can see, Louis's endurance is still there. This is where Joe Louis will finish off Joe Bugner. 5 more rounds to go. And Louis still with well over a half tank of gas. Bugner running on empty. Here's the bell for round number 11. Could this be the final round for Joe Bugner in this fight and in this tournament? There's the bell. Again, Louis is going to fight as an aggressive counterpuncher. And Bugner comes forward. They tie up. They try to work on the inside. There! Again, Louis catches Bugner coming in. Bugner is staggered by that. He holds on, tries to work the free hand. Louis pushes him away. Louis trying to find his range again. Missed with those 1-2 punches. As they tie up once again, Bugner trying to work on the inside. The referee breaks. A minute 30 to go here in round number 11. And Louis lands with good countering shots. Bugner continues to come forward, though, on unsteady legs. Under a minute to go. And Bugner finally lands a 1-2 scoring blow. Not much behind that right hand. Bugner is tiring. And there! Good shot there again. That uppercut snapped Louis's head back. Now Louis ties up. Under 30 seconds to go here as Bugner tries to rally. Close round. And there's the bell. Both fighters throw but do not land. A very close round, but I'm going to give that to Joe Louis. He did land the harder shots in the beginning of the round. Bugner did land a very good scoring combination with that snapping uppercut being the final punch, though it was not as telling as in the past rounds. So round 11, close, 10-9 Louis. A very good effort by Bugner after going down in round number 10 and just taking a hellacious beating from the Brown Bomber. Let's go to the unofficial scorecard and Roy Path. He also gives it 10-9 to Louis. And after 11 rounds, he has it 107 Louis, 102 Bugner. Bugner's going to need a knockout, and I just don't think he can do it. He's not really a knockout puncher. I know it says 41 KOs there. He was not a big puncher, Joe Bugner. Let's go to the Joe Louis corner. And again, Jack Blackburn, he knows they're up. They have control of this fight, but he is concerned with that uppercut. Bugner has been able to land that combination, ending with that uppercut on several occasions. Now, Louis was not as rattled because Bugner is tiring, and he's tired. He's a fading fighter. But it did get Joe Louis' attention enough to go outside and regroup once again. Nothing to report from the Louis corner regarding any types of nicks, cuts, or abrasions. Normal wear and tear in this pugilistic contest. Blackburn still has some concern. You can see as he speaks to Louis in his ear. You can see it in his eyes. I'm suspecting that they're saying, you know, land that counter right hand, Joe. And now you can hear what Blackburn's saying. He said, land the 1-2, step back, and then try to hit him again. Meaning when he says step back, really step to the side and back. You never want to back up straight, especially against a long-armed fighter. If you're going to go back, you know, that's bad news. Now we move to the Joe Bugner corner. Mickey Duff just shaking his head. He cannot fault Joe Bugner's effort. Tremendous effort Bugner has put forth in this fight. Especially after that knockdown in round number 10 to come back the way he did in round number 11 in a very close round. All Mickey Duff says, do you want to go, Joe? And Bugner again stares at him very sternly and says, hell yes. Yeah. We get ready for round number 12. Let me go to the chat real quick. People's Attorney says, does this game have a career replay mode? Say I want to replay Marciano's career. Can I do that out? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And I can do a video next week if you want. Or we can do a Skype thing, and I can show you. Alright, let's go to the traits. Again, Louis with a lot of gas left in his tank and endurance, and you can see Bugner is fighting on fumes. Let's check out the conditioning. Louis still in good condition. Even for all the punishment that Bugner has taken, he does not show enough fatigue to drop his hands. As Bugner is trying and trying very hard, he has put forth a tremendous effort, a brave effort, and against most fighters, a winning effort. But this is the great Joe Louis. We prepare for round 12, and here's the bell for round 12. Bugner and Louis meet once again in the center of the ring. Louis circling. Oh, a huge right hand missed by Bugner. And Louis should have countered, but was out of range. And now, Bugner digs 2 shots to the head and body, a snapping uppercut again. Louis felt that. Now Louis trying to regroup. Right hand misses, and Louis counters with a 1-2. Again, Louis moves away to the side. Now Bugner grabs and tries to work the free hand. Under a minute 30 to go. Louis counters with a 1-2 out of the break. Bugner again pursuing. They tie up. Bugner trying frantically to work on the inside. Louis again finds his distance. Both fighters throw but miss. Louis didn't miss with that combination. He again lands, now moves away to the side, and Bugner lands with 2 snapping jabs. Back and forth they go in round 12. Under 15 seconds, both fighters trade. They tie up, they wrestle, they throw punches, and there's the bell. Another good round. This has not been a fight with a lack of entertainment. There is good entertainment value, good action here. A close round, but a Joe Louis round. Bugner fighting with tremendous heart and determination. Though his punches lack that snap, especially later in this fight, as Louis continues to dig that body. And that has paid dividends as Bugner, again running on fumes. Round 12. Round 12. Louis 10-9, a close round. If some of these close rounds go the other way, I don't see them going the other way, just because I'm calling them close. It's going to make for some interesting scorecards. So 10-9 Louis. Let's go to the unofficial score, Roy Path. Again, we have Beatles Attorney at ringside as well as Tribes fan. How do you see the fight so far? And Path does give round 12, as I did, to Joe Louis 10-9. And Louis has a commanding 6-point lead with 3 rounds to go. The championship rounds 13, 14, and 15. It would be something if Bugner goes the distance. Now, he did go the distance twice with Ali. 12 rounds the first time, 15 rounds the second time, and 12 rounds with Joe Frazier. Bugner is a very confident, competitive fighter. Just never got over the hump in the big fights. I think that's why he's fighting so hard in this one. A chance at redemption for Joe Bugner, in his eyes, in his mind. Fans at Wembley Stadium have been treated to a very good fight here. Joe Louis corner with 9 minutes to go. 9 fighting minutes, 12 minutes overall with a minute in between. Jack Blackburn really wants Louis to concentrate on the counter punching now. Though Blackburn's a little more at ease, he doesn't feel probably in his mind that Bugner can hurt Louis anymore. As you can see, Bugner's fatigue and his tiring. Even though Bugner's fighting hard, no quitting Joe Bugner. The Brown Bomber takes the last swig of water. Round 13 coming up. We quickly go to the Joe Bugner corner. And now Mickey Duff comes point blank and says to Bugner, "You must knock him out. You're way behind." He doesn't ask his fighter if he wants to go on anymore. Bugner has made it quite clear he wants to go on. He takes a last swig of water. Last minute instructions from the cut man Danny Mancini to Joe Bugner. It seems like Mancini and Bugner have a better relationship than Mickey Duff and Bugner. As we prepare for the bell for round 12, again you can see the endurance. Bugner fighting on fumes, heart and determination. Joe Louis still a lot left in the tank. Here's the bell for round number 13, the hard luck round. Louis quickly off the stool, they tie up. Bugner tries to wrestle him backwards. And then Louis breaks and lands a good countering shots off the break. Bugner continues to come forward, misses with the big right hand. Louis counters the 1-2, the third punch to the body. Bugner lands that uppercut combination, but again, not as effective. He has very little behind his punches. He covers up on the inside as Louis works his hands, but nothing landed. Both fighters trade, and really grazing blows. Now Louis digs to the head and body. Bugner steps back a moment to the side, now comes forward again. Bugner trying to work behind the jab, and he's caught with a 1-2 coming in. Bugner again dips away, now comes back. Pressing forward behind the jab. Louis catches him coming in with a tremendous countering shot. Bugner's reeling backward. Louis comes forward. Bugner brings his hands to his head to block those final blows by Joe Louis. That was a huge Joe Louis round. As Bugner goes back to his corner with the help of cutman Denny Mancini and trainer Mickey Duff. Bugner looks all but out on his feet. Will the referee or the doctor let this continue on? As that was a huge... You could score it 10-8 if you wanted to. I'm going to give it 10-9. That could be a 10-8 round for Louis. Let's see how the unofficial score, Roy Path, scored it. 10-9 Louis. He's up 7 points now. 127 to 120 with 2 rounds to go. As Gerry Ball says, "Go Brown Bomber!" As Gerry Ball is at ringside, as he says hello to Beatles Attorney and Tribes fan. Thank you for joining us for the fight. Let's go to the Joe Louis corner. The Brown Bomber in total control now. As Bugner, even when he does land that snapping uppercut combination, it scores, but the effect's not there as it was earlier in the fight when he rattled Louis on 3 occasions. Twice backing Louis to the ropes when he tried to follow up. Again, Jack Blackburn must just be happy that Joe Bugner is not a big puncher. And again, what must have been racing through Blackburn's mind in those moments, the first Max Schmeling fight against Louis. Blackburn wants him to stay on the outside and counter. And obviously they have an opportunity to knock him out, but don't go for it. the knockout will come, he says. Remember, he dropped Joe Bugner in round number 10. Bugner got up at 5, took the mandatory 8 count, and then took a hellacious beating, but then rallied in round 11. So no quitting Joe Bugner. We move to the Bugner corner now. 6 minutes to go in this fight. Mickey Duff telling him you need a knockout. Do you want to go, Joe? And Bugner just looks at him disgustedly. Like, stop asking me that question. I'm here to fight. We move to round 14 again. Bugner just fighting on heart, grit, determination, and fumes. Lots in the tank for the Brown Bomber. Here is round 14. Can Joe Bugner survive these last 6 minutes? And 1, 2, 3 goes the Brown Bomber. 1, 2, 3 again goes the Brown Bomber. As Bugner has no choice in his mind but to press forward and try to go for the knockout. Again, that's not Joe Bugner's style. But Bugner's trying. And Lewis again looking to counter. And this is like shooting fish in a barrel for Lewis as he's just countering and countering. As Bugner comes in, finally Bugner blocks some shot. And Bugner lands a huge combination! He reaches back! Lewis starts to stagger, now he grabs onto Bugner! Bugner pushes him away! Under a minute to go! Bugner trying to load up and he's caught coming in! As Bugner trying to throw the uppercut from the outside! Lewis countered with a huge right hand! The count's at 4! 5! Bugner's up! He'll take the mandatory 8 count! It's the second time he's been down! Under 20 seconds to go! Lewis looking to finish Bugner, pursuing! He nails Bugner again! The referee's looking! And there's the bell! Wow, what a round! Lewis was pounding away on Bugner, then Bugner reaching back one last time! Nailing Lewis with a 4-punch combination, the last one being that educated uppercut that he's nailed Lewis over and over again in this fight. Snapping Lewis's head back, and Lewis felt it like he has not felt it before since the earlier rounds. Bugner pursued, but badly tiring and fighting on fumes, guts, and glory. Walked into a hellacious countering right hand, and down went Joe Bugner for the second time. And Lewis, in the final 20 seconds, put the beat down on Joe Bugner, though Bugner stood up to it. Unbelievable. We have 3 minutes to go. The doctor's in the Bugner corner, along with the referee O'Connor. There's concern, as Bugner, he says he wants to go. He's good. I mean, the odds of Joe Bugner mustering any type of knockout punch are slim to none, to be honest with you. It's not happening. Though I was surprised he rattled Lewis. He has not rattled Lewis since round 11. I mean, that wasn't as hard as he did earlier on. And that was coming off that knockdown in round 10. Bugner rallied in round 11. Does he have anything left to rally and try to knock out Joe Lewis here in the 15th and final round at Wembley Stadium? The crowd is on its feet. They want their man Bugner. Again, Bugner not a big fan favorite in the UK when he fought. But the tremendous effort he has put forth. This is like when he fought Joe Frazier. And he went the distance. It was a 12-round fight, non-title fight. He has given a tremendous effort here. Let's go to the Joe Lewis corner. And Jack Blackburn just says, work behind your jab and counter. Lewis could still knock him out. What a hellacious puncher Joe Lewis is. The Brown Bomber. One of the greatest fighters of all time. One of my fan favorites. He is my favorite fighter of all time, Joe Lewis. Now we move to the Bugner corner. They're still concerned. The doctor, this is more than a minute going here. And now Jack Blackburn is wondering if they're going to stop the fight, but it doesn't look like as Bugner gets off his stool. Final instructions, knock him out. Which, even in most hardened Joe Bugner fans don't really believe it can happen. So 3 minutes to go. It comes down to, can Joe Bugner survive? Quickly check the scoring. 10-8 Louis in that round. Louis 137, Bugner 128. Will Bugner survive to go the distance with Joe Louis, as he did twice with Muhammad Ali and once with Joe Frazier? The final 3 minutes here at Wembley Stadium. Louis just backing away, throws a 1-2 and scores. Little side-to-side movement. Bugner continues to pursue. Louis blocks those punches and counters with 2 shots to the body. Comes up with a jab to the head and again moves away. Ties up Bugner on the inside. Bugner tries to work the free hand. Again, Louis gets his distance, working the jab. Lands another good countering right hand. Bugner backs up for a second, now moves forward. Bugner tries to grab Louis behind the head, and Louis comes out on the crouch and nails him with a 3-punch combination. Bugner steps back, grabs onto Louis, tries to work the free hand again. They break. Under a minute to go. It's been all Joe Louis this round. Bugner tries to bull forward. Louis has none of it. Pushes him away. Lands a 1-2 combination. Under 30 seconds to go. Bugner has not landed a punch here in the final round. 10 seconds to go. And there's the bell. This will be an overwhelming victory for the Brown Bomber. Joe Louis will win, in my opinion, a lopsided unanimous decision, though the fight did not lack entertainment, folks, or heart and determination by both fighters. Joe Bugner goes 15 with the great Brown Bomber Joe Louis. So Bugner, who went 12 rounds with Ali, then 12 rounds with Frazier, and then in his only world title championship bout against Muhammad Ali, went 15 rounds, has now gone 15 rounds with the immortal Joe Louis. We await the results. Gerry Ball says, nice fight. Well, thank you, Gerry. And I'd like to thank Beatles Eternally and Tribes fan and anyone else who is watching or watches later date. This is bout number 9 of our heavyweight tournament. Looks like Joe Louis will advance, and Joe Bugner, though he gave a good effort, will be out.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have your decision.
As O'Connor brings the fighters to the center of the ring, we have the decision ready to be read by Michael Buffer. And Michael Buffer with the call. Ladies and gentlemen, the scorecards are in, and here is your official decision. Mickey Van of England sees the fight 149 to 134. Larry Hazard Jr. of the United States scores the bout 145-137. Dong Ong Park of South Korea scores the fight 149 to 133. And your winner by unanimous decision, the Brown Bomber, Joe Louis. So Joe Louis wins a unanimous 15-round decision and will advance in the tournament. And the fans applaud it, as Joe Louis is beloved around the world. And they also give, as Louis goes over to the Bugner corner, they shake hands, they hug, and Louis puts up Bugner's hands. The crowd applauds that. Bugner put forth a tremendous effort, even though he was dropped twice in the fight. Once in the 8th, and then once in the 14th, but he got up both times. He finished on his feet. Bugner had told reporters, I don't plan on losing, but if it comes down to it, I'll go out on my shield. I will not go out on the stool. So Joe Louis's record, once we click update, will go to 67, 3 no draws, and 52 knockouts. There was no knockout, there were 2 knockdowns. Bugner will fall to 69, 14-1 with 41 KOs, and he will be out of the tournament. Let's go to the punches. And you can see Joe Louis worked his jab beautifully. Bugner, again, I thought Joe Bugner was going to fight, even though Joe Bugner's much bigger than Billy Conn. Billy Conn fought Joe Louis when he was a light heavyweight, Tremendous fighter, Billy Conn. Billy Conn's in this tournament. He'll be fighting Max Schmeling coming up at some point in the near future. I thought that's the way the fight would go. I thought Joe Bugner would fight very similarly to Billy Conn, stay on the outside, work the jab, land a counter right, just continue to... Because Joe Bugner had very good boxing ability, as well as Joe Louis. Joe Louis could box, punch, do whatever. He was a great fighter. Joe Louis, Marciano, Graziano, Robinson, and Basilio, some of my favorite, Hagler, some of my all-time, Durant. I got lots of favorite fighters, but Joe Louis and Marciano are like my two all-time favorite fighters. And I think Joe Louis doesn't get enough credit. I really do. 25 title defenses. Never lost a title defense. All right, so Louis really landed a ton of jabs. And that was because Bugner came forward a lot more than we expected. Hooks. Again. Tremendous amount of hooks landed. Why is it giving me percentages, though? Oh, okay, that's a percentage lands. Hooks. So Louis obviously landed more of the punches. Bugner stood in there well. Punches landed in the fight. Louis landed 373. And be honest with you, even his jab, they're all power punches. His jab was very hard. Everything was a power punch. Bugner, it's shocking no cuts or real swelling opened up on Joe Bugner for the punishment he took. Bugner only landed 179, but of those 179, he was able to land some rattling combinations ending with uppercuts. And you can see 39%, 56%. Bugner, again, in the training, in the films, he must have saw something where I can snap his head back and try to follow up with it. And he did on several occasions. At the end of the fight, he did not have, as they will say, the mustard on the punches anymore when he landed the combinations. Again, Bugner never really a big puncher. Punches missed in the fight. Louis missed 334. Bugner 452. See, Bugner was in there throwing. He tried very hard. Punches landed by round. Louis landed approximately 25 punches. Bugner 12. I think he landed a few more than that. So again, this is all, it goes off the eyes of the beholder. I thought, from my vantage point of calling the fight for the radio, that he landed more than 12 punches around. But that's neither here nor there. Louis definitely won the fight, in my opinion, the unofficial scorer's opinion, and the three judges' opinion. Hats off to Joe Bugner for going the distance. Punches thrown, Louis threw 707, Bugner 631. So Louis was not to be outworked by Joe Bugner. Louis landed 52.8% of his punches, Bugner 28.4%. Louis scored 2 knockdowns. Knockdown in the 10th, and then again in the 14th. Bugner got up both times at the 5 count. No cuts were suffered by either fighter. So a really solid win for Joe Louis. Who he faces in the next round, we don't know, because again, it will be a random draw. We'll roll the numbers and see. It's like the FA Cup. We're going to see who plays who. So a great win by Joe Louis. Let's go back to the fighters, and we're going to update the records now. As you see, Joe Louis's actual record now is updated with the simulation record. He's now 67 wins, 3 defeats, no draws, 52 KOs. Joe Bugner falls out of the tournament at 69, 14, and 1 with 41 KOs. So let me just bring up our spreadsheet here. I remembered how to do this, as last fight I forgot. Let's see if we can do this right now. And let's find our spreadsheet, and it's not going to work. Cancel, 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 cancel. Come on, it worked when I practiced it before going live. Don't do this to me. There we go. There we go. There's our spreadsheet. You should be able to see it momentarily. So Joe Louis will get the victory. I'll just type in 15 round unanimous decision. I'll type in some other details after. So Louis will go to the blue. And Joe Bugner gets the green of defeat. Alright, so that was bout number 9. And it was a much more exciting fight than I thought it was going to be. It was enjoyable to call. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I think our next fight, we're going to stay at Wembley Stadium. It's either going to be Francesco Damiani of Italy against Lennox Lewis. Lewis, the big favorite there. Damiani, a competent fighter. But I don't think I think Lewis could knock him out in that fight. Or I kind of like Michael Moore or Louis Firpo. And that won't be at Wembley. I think that's a good slugfest. Michael Moore and Louis Firpo, the man who knocked Jack Dempsey out of the ring, though would be KO'd early in the fight. That's an interesting fight. So I'm leaning either towards Damiani and Lennox Lewis or Firpo, Michael Moore. If there's a fight you'd like to see, we still have, I'm going to sim Ezzard Charles most likely and John Tate, just tell you the result. We have Pinklon Thomas, Gerry Conney, Ernie Terrell, Archie Moore. Oh, I might do that one. Archie Moore, the Mongoose. Vitali Klitschko and Nikolay Valuev. I'm probably just going to sim that. Even though that's probably going to be an entertaining fight, but there's no way I'm going to pronounce Valuev correctly. All Bout. Wladimir Klitschko and Jack Johnson. That's definitely going to be on the channel. Ali, Bone Crusher Smith will be on the channel. Ron, Lyle, Floyd, Patterson will be on the channel. I might sim Tommy Burns, Ray Mercer. Just give you the result. Sonny Liston, Carl Mildenberger. That's an interesting fight. Liston will be a big favorite. Mildenberger gave Ali a tough little tussle before Ali knocked him out. Kenny Norton, George Chavalos definitely going to be on. Shannon Briggs, Jerry Quarry. I'll do that one because I like Jerry Quarry a lot. Andrew Galata Holmes. Michael Dokes, Chuck Wepner. That could be an interesting fight. Bob Fitzsimmons, Buster Douglas. As I said, Damiani Lewis. John Ruiz. Jack Dempsey. That's going to be a massacre. But we'll do it because it's a Dempsey fight. Tim Withers. I got to look this up. Because I didn't want fighters to fight if they actually fought in the first round. Like if they really fought each other. Tim Witherspoon, I know I checked. I got to look up. It's too late now, but I think Witherspoon and Mike Weaver might have fought late in their careers. I could be wrong about that. Jimmy Ellis, Cleveland Williams, that's an interesting fight. Henry Cooper, Jack Sharkey. Jack Sharkey, the Boston Gob. Michael Moore, Firpo. Then we have Schmeling, Billy Kahn, Michael Spinks, Riddick Bro, Max Baer, Oscar Bonavena. Ingemar Johansson, Jimmy Young. I like that fight. I like Jimmy Young. Always thought he was a really good fighter. Excellent defensive fighter. Trevor Burbick, Tommy Morrison, Carl the Truth Williams, James J. Corbett, Jim Braddock, Tony Tucker, Leon Spinks, Evander Holyfield, Donovan Razor Ruddick versus Marvin Hart, and Ronaldo Snipes versus Hasim Rotman. So those are the fights we have left. We've done 9 of them. And this is a long-term project, so... And Beatles Eternally in the chat says, I want to see the Braddock bout. Okay, let me go back to that one. The Cinderella Man. So let me go to the Braddock bout. Here it is. Jim Braddock, Tony Tucker. Okay, Beatles, we'll do that next when I do my next boxing show. It'll be Gentleman Jim Braddock, the Cinderella Man, versus Tony Tucker. And we're going to do that. We're going to say that's Yankee Stadium. Or actually, we'll do it where Braddock... What was that? Where Braddock beat Max Baer. What the hell? What was that called? The something bowl. I'll look it up. So, our next fight, or within our next 2 fights... Braddock and Tony Tucker will be one of them. It might be our next fight, might be our second fight, because I'm looking forward to this Michael Moorer-Louis Firpo fight. But Beatles has asked for it, so we will do Braddock, Tony Tucker next. Anyone else sees a fight? So we're going to do our next fight, James J. Braddock, or Jim Braddock. Yeah, he went by James J. also. Jim Braddock against Tony Tucker. And then following that, I think we're going to go Michael Moorer-Louis Firpo. I think that's a slugfest. There will be some fights I just sim and give results. And when I do that, I'll give you the results all at once, the ones I'm going to sim. I have to decide which ones I'm just going to sim and give results. I'll tell you right now, Ezzard Charles, John Tate, I'm going to sim. I think Charles will knock him out. It's going to stink if there's going to be, like, if there's a crazy result, a cool fight happens. But the beauty of it is after I sim it, there's a log of the fight, and I can actually still call it without you guys knowing it. I just do it a little differently. You know, there's a way to set it up just with pictures. So our next fight for our good friend Beatles Eternally will be Jim Braddock and Tony Tucker, venue to be determined. Again, that will be bout number 10 in our heavyweight tournament. So we've gone an hour 21. Gerry Boss is very cool. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Gerry. I don't know if this is the first time you've caught but I don't do these like one after the other because I want people, if they're going to enjoy it, to watch it. I have a lot of fights on my channel. This is under the playlist of heavyweight championship tournament, and then I have a boxing one or fantasy boxing matches also. But this is under heavyweight tournament, and they're a lot of fun to do. I hope you guys enjoyed that fight. The one that it was a fun fight with Bugner and Lewis. It really was. Very surprising. Now, just FYI, I don't do any of the strategies. You can play the game and say you want your fighter to fight a certain way. Had I been doing the strategy for Joe Bugner, when I play this game, I always play as the weaker boxer because it's no fun to play as the better boxer. Even though I like most of the better boxers, it's no fun to play as them. You try to figure out a way that you can get the underdog to win or to be competitive, you know. I would have trained Bugner. I always train my boxer for endurance, one, which takes away a little from something else, which is a random thing you don't know. And then I would have fought him on the outside defensively and hope that he would just counter. Again, it's a formula. It goes off statistics of the fighters. I'll show you something. Hopefully I can bring it up. I'll do it another time because I don't want to mess up my There's boxers cards. I don't show them. You know, just like in anything, just like in Stratomatic Baseball, there's a card. It works off dice. There's a boxer's card. It says this is what this guy's rated points wise. You know, and the point totals go from 1 to 15 for most of the ratings. Some go 1 through 10, 1 through 4, but most of them are 1 through 15. And, you know, you try to look at your fighter's card. I'm a big boxing fan, so I've watched a lot of these older fighters. I saw them when I was a kid. Not Joe Louis. I've seen, you know, YouTube and before YouTube, you know, Wide World of Sports or things like that when they showed highlights. And I bought all the boxing magazines and boxing books. And that's what I love about YouTube. You can find a ton of old fights. It's just absolutely amazing. But, so I know how a fighter would fight or how I think they should fight somebody. Anyhow, let's go back. So that's the spreadsheet. Their next fight for Beatles Eternally will be Braddock, Tony Tucker. Is there a fight you'd like to see, Gerry, before I leave? And if there's anyone who's watching now or later, there's a fight you'd like to see come up, just put it in the comments. And again, when we eventually get to the second round, random draw. Again, we're going to do the random, that Google number randomizer. I number the fighters, and that's how they're picked. That's how you have, you know, like Joe Frazier got Jersey Joe Walcott. That's a tough fight for the first round. Whereas Joey Maxim, again, never a heavyweight champion. He was light heavyweight champion, but he fought for the heavyweight title and fought a lot of heavyweights. He got Gerry Coetzee, and he upset Gerry Coetzee. That was a great fight. Rocky Marciano got David Tua. That was not an easy fight. Lopsided decision, but that was not an easy fight for Rocky Marciano. So a lot of fun. I do like to do the boxing. I wish they'd come up with a... Greg Gerrie, how are you, my friend? Greg Gerrie, our friend from the north, has joined us. He said, I thought you were Joe Louis's trainer out. No. I just go in between rounds, like, give you what's going on in the corner if anything's going on. No, the computer, the sim engine for Title Bout Championship Boxing sims the fights. And I don't know if you were here earlier, Greg. When I actually play the game, when I pick a fighter and play, which is usually offline, I did do it with my Sugar Ray Robinson fight when he challenged Ingemar Johansson for the heavyweight title. That was fun. I lost, but I usually pick, quote-unquote, the weaker fighter. And I try to figure out a way to make him competitive. That's the fun of it for me. And Greg Gerrie says he's doing fine. Jerry Ball says, I like them all, Al. Oh, Greg Gerrie says, I meant in real life. Oh, I love Joe Louis. I think Joe Louis... put it this way. I think Joe Louis, as great as he was, is underrated. Because I just don't think people understand how great he was. The only reason why people underestimate the older heavyweights is because of the size. Let me tell you something. In my opinion, if Joe Louis hit you, he was going to hurt you. And he had to have an ability to knock you out. If Rocky Marciano, as small as he was for a heavyweight, if he tagged you, whether he hit you on the arm, he could break your freaking arm. And the one thing I can say about Marciano and Louis, they never quit. I've seen heavyweight champions in this modern era, the Klitschkos, quit. Okay, not big. Klitschko's very good fighters, not big fans of them. They were tall, good amateur backgrounds, came out of the Soviet Union. They were Ukrainian, but they came out of that system. Great amateur fighters. They used their height and reach advantages very well, and they could hit a bit. Were they good for boxing? No. They had some of the most boring fights on the face of the earth. Let's go to the chat real quick. As Greg Gerrie says, I always take the underdog myself. Yeah, it's fun. You know what I'd like? I wish they came out. There was talk. I actually had emails back and forth with one of the developers. And I know you know the developers. You're very familiar, Greg, with the developers. I don't know if it was the same developer. And then I think he got sick. Or he told me the person who was working on it got sick. I hope they come out with a new one. I'd like to see a little better animation. But it's a fun. If you like boxing, this is a great game. Jerry Ball. Oh, Joe Louis pound for pound was awesome. Absolutely. Greg Gerrie. Rocky broke blood vessels in Rolling Stars' arms. You are correct. That's what people don't understand. I mean, could Rocky Marciano beat a Klitschko? That'd be a difficult fight for Marciano because of the height. But that one. That's the only one. The guys who are really tall and big would give a Marciano trouble. He'd have to get really on the inside and just mug the guy. Jim Trunzio. No. Okay, so that's not who I conversed with via email. It was a gentleman from the UK. Very nice man. I have the email still. He was very nice. I went back and forth a few times with email. I would love to develop this game. If I could program a computer boxing game, or if I had the capability of doing that, I would make a boxing game. I think if you did it right, if you put it this way, out of the park baseball, right? If you took that type of animation, okay, that type of animation, right, and you developed a boxing game with that type of animation, it'd be outstanding. A sim boxing game, not, a button cruncher. As Greg Gerrie said, he would KO Wladimir. Who would KO Wladimir? Rocky? I think Louis could KO. I think Louis, because he still had that 6'2" height. And again, Let's say Joe Louis fought now. He's not going to fight at 199, 195, okay? A heavyweight. We're saying he's not going to be a cruiserweight. They would somehow get him up to 215 pounds, 210 pounds. A 210-pound Joe Louis, 215-pound Joe Louis, he's in shape still, okay? He's not going to be overweight because of the way the training is and stuff like that. And he's still going to hit like he can knock out a cow, a bull. Now, Rocky Marciano would have been a cruiserweight, most likely, a la Evander Holyfield, and then he would have stepped up and fought for the heavyweight title. People ask me, Holyfield, Marciano, who wins? Marciano. Marciano would win that fight. Where is he gonna have issues? It's gonna be a tough fight. Could Holyfield win? Yeah, Holyfield could win. He could cut Marciano. He could win via the cut. The way they stop fights now, you know. And if he won, hats off to him. But the favorite in that fight would be Marciano. Because Holyfield would be there to be hit. And again, people don't understand how hard Marciano hit. They just don't get it. As Greg Gerrie says, yeah, Wladimir didn't have a chin. Gerry Bell, Mike Tyson in the beginning was a monster. What talent. What a shame the way he ended. Tyson could hit hard and had good hand speed. But he had the bully's mentality, in my opinion, Gerry, that when he did face someone who punched him back, he turtled. Again, I remember when everyone thought they were saying, oh, he's going to kill Holyfield. And I'm like, he's not going to kill Holyfield. I watched Buster Douglas beat Tyson. Douglas fought the fight of his life. And Tyson didn't know what to do once he got hit. And Tyson, to his credit, came back, dropped Douglas. And to Douglas's credit, he came back and knocked out Tyson. It was a great fight. But, yeah, talent wasted. Greg Gerrie, Ali wasn't over 200 pounds until about 1962. Rocky was only cut 5 times in his entire career. Absolutely. Tyson had no heart, Greg Gerrie. I agree. He fought with a bully's mentality. If you hit him back, and again, that's something being said. That means you took his punishment and you were able to withstand it. That's not an easy thing to do. Mike Tyson hit hard. But Mike Tyson was a lazy fighter on the inside. Go back, Gerry. I have a thing on my channel. You don't have to watch it on mine. Ali Frazier, the first fight. I do commentary in between rounds. Beetle was there. We had a lot of fun. It goes about 2 hours or more because we're talking about the fight in between rounds. But you can look up on YouTube. Ali Frazier won. Watch how Frazier worked on the inside. Not that Frazier always landed, but he always tried to work when he could on the inside. Tyson didn't do that. You could easily tie up Tyson. Greg Gerrie, I won $4,000 on the Douglas fight. God bless you, my friend. That was a huge upset in Tokyo. The reason the fight was in Tokyo, my friends, Greg Gerrie knows this. No one wanted the fight in the United States because they thought Tyson was going to blow him away. I thought Tyson was going to blow him away. Then when they showed Douglas at the weigh-in, I was like, well, at least he trained. He looked good because he had a bad habit of coming in fat, you know. And Douglas had a lot of talent. He had a very good jab, good right hand. And it all came together on that one night in Tokyo when he knocked out Mike Tyson. Even though he tried to rob. Here's my favorite thing. We'll leave on this. I'm going to come back with a chat with Al in about 10 minutes. We'll do a chat with Al, talk about all kinds of things. They tried to rob Buster Douglas of that victory when they said it was a long count. Anyone who knows boxing knows that's BS. Except the people who are in love with Mike Tyson. They keep saying, oh, Tyson got robbed. The fighter does not pick up the count of the timekeeper. The referee's supposed to pick up the count of the timekeeper. If the referee does not pick up the time of the timekeeper and starts counting, so say if the timekeeper's at 5 and the referee picks it up at 3, right? That's the official count. Okay, and the other thing, I watched that fight so many times, and then early on, they had the, my God, the timekeeper was counting before Douglas hit the, he was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. When they show, you could see him slapping the, because the timekeeper will go 1, 2, that's how he's supposed to do it, bang the mat. And he was like frantically banging the mat. Buster Douglas got up before the 10 count on the referee's count. Simple as that. Done deal. No robbery. The fight is legit. There's still people who say Tyson got robbed. What fight were you watching? I guess that swelling on his eye, was fake. Greg Gerrie, I thought he could beat him after seeing Douglas fight Tony Tucker. Yeah, Douglas fought good against Tucker, and then he faded. That's when it was 15-round title fights. Joe Frazier was a tough fighter with real heart. Absolutely. I met Joe Frazier at a Rocky Marciano charity event in Agawam, Massachusetts. God rest his soul. One of the nicest people. I was able to talk to him, get his autograph. One of the nicest people you can meet. Ali, great fighter. Met him, didn't like him. Didn't like him one bit. Now, he was ill, but people who surrounded him were not nice people. I'm just telling you, I was there. Not nice. Not nice at all. You know. And again, I know he was ill, but not nice. His people who surround, at that time, I don't know now, and God rest his soul, he did a lot of nice things for people. I'm just saying that. Tony Tucker fought Tyson with a broken hand. He did a good job. He did a good job, Tony Tucker, first half of that fight. And then Tyson finally was able to land something, and Tucker... And again, he had the broken hand also, and Tucker faded. Jerry Ball. Joe was a great guy for sure. Very nice man. Again, personal interaction with him, things I've read. He did a lot of nice things people don't know about. He helped Ali get his boxing license back. So, alrighty, we're going to call it a stream in a moment. I'm going to come back in about 10 minutes if you want to join me with a chat with Al, where we talk about what's going on with your projects, what's going on with what you're doing and things like that. What games are you enjoying? And Greg Gerrie. Oh, yeah, I liked when he told me that. Greg Gerrie says, I met Joe at a dinner in Toronto for George Chuvalo. I met George Chuvalo also. I think we've talked about this, Greg. He was at a Rocky Marciano fundraiser. When, they used to have these fundraisers for... what am I thinking? For schools, you know, not getting the right word out. They'd raise money for scholarships. And George Chuvalo is very funny guy. He was nice to talk to. One of my favorite persons I met at one of the, Emmanuel Stewart, God rest his soul. Absolutely marvelous person. He talked to me for almost 20 minutes. Because back then, the last one they had, and the reason why it fell out, because then they made it too standard. You had to wait in line to talk to people. Before you ate the dinner, you listened to talk. They walked around. You could converse with them. It was really cool. Then they made it more formal, and it wasn't as much fun, you know. And that's when people, they didn't go. When you get to talk to these great fighters, and the fighters I have met have all been very nice, 99% of them. And no one's been mean. I met Vito Anafermo, who was hilarious. He had a few whines in him, but he was very nice. My God, the scar tissue on Vito's face. Oh, boy. Man. And Gerry says, hope to see you all at Chat with Al later. Yeah, we're going to call this stream here. I'm going to bring up the other page, and we're going to say thank you. Let me bring this back down. Bring the fight back up. All right, so thank you to Jerry Ball in the chat, Greg Gerrie, Beatles Eternally, and Tribes Fan. Check out Tribes Fan channel. He's putting up game summaries of what he rolls. And thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed Louis versus Bugner. Louis wins a lopsided unanimous decision over Joe Bugner at Wembley Stadium. Bugner was dropped in the 10th and the 14th, but made it through to the end. And he fought hard. Joe did himself proud. Al Red Sox fan saying, thank you very much. Health and happiness, as always. Take care. Bye-bye. God bless. And peace.